On this episode of the Catholic Echo podcast from the Diocese of Youngstown, brought to you by the annual Diocesan Appeal and Cumulus Radio Youngstown, we're talking about recent diocesan retirements with Bishop David Bonnar, Mary Fiala, Dave Schmidt, Father Raymond Thomas, and Father Philip Rogers. Find more about this episode's topic, including articles from the Catholic Echo, at www.catholicecho.org/podcast. And now the host of the Catholic Echo podcast, Dennis Viviana.
Welcome to the Catholic Echo podcast. Today we are discussing retirements in the Diocese of Youngstown. Here as always, Bishop David Bonnar. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Dennis.
Well, I'd imagine this is a bittersweet time of year for you to see staff members, priests, and deacons moving into the next stages of their lives.
Well, I think if there's one fact of life, it's change. And there's always going to be change, especially when it comes to personnel. And part of that change involves people reaching that milestone, that point where, they can move on to perhaps greener pastures, where they can sit in that rocking chair, or where they can just spend more intentional time with family. That's what retirement is all about, and just do what they want to do. It's always hard to say goodbye, but especially in the case of our priests who retire, we never say goodbye, because our retired priests continue to work and to minister. They are such a great support to our parishes, filling in from time to time. Some even at various moments have covered a parish for a short period of time for one reason or another. So, you're a priest forever in the line of Melchizedek. So even though their assignment may have changed and they don't have the responsibilities that they once had, they continue, thanks be to God, to minister and give to the life of this church in Youngstown.
We're talking about the priest, Father Ray Thomas, Father Philip Rogers, combined 96 years in religious life and counting, as you mentioned, because some will continue to fill in. Any favorite stories or recollections about the two?
Well, they're both institutions, legends. Father Thomas has spent a great deal of his priesthood in Ashtabula County. I was just there for his farewell mass at the end of June. We celebrated his life and his ministry as a priest and thanked God in the best way we knew how. The one thing I will say about Father Thomas is that he really is a priest, very fraternal. He would often open the doors of the rectory and host meals and gatherings for the brothers. And when you're in a remote place like Ashtabula, it's good to have someone like that who brings people together in a place where it can become so easily isolated. Father Rogers, all the same, I went and celebrated Mass as I do with every retiring priest. I go to the parish, I have a Mass, and I personally thank them for their ministry. And, Father Rogers has that booming voice. I don't think he ever needs a microphone. I mean, he really has a strong, vibrant voice. And then as a presbyterate, every year we also have a prayer service and a dinner to honor our retirees and jubilarians. And we did that for both Father Thomas and Father Rogers.
Mm-hmm. Losing two priests like that, does that present a challenge for the diocese?
Quite honestly, our resources are limited. And yes, it does present a challenge, but not to the point where we say you can't retire. I mean, they deserve to retire. But, we've been able, with the help of our clergy personnel board and just with the grace of God, to continue to meet the needs of our faithful.
Of course, two very sharp and young priests, Father Will and Father Kevin. And, staff members. Let's move on to Superintendent Mary Fiala, who's retiring after 45 years in education, as well as Dave Schmidt, Director of Pro-Life, Marriage, and Family Life. Although you only had the chance to spend a few years together, I would imagine their impact on this diocese will be felt for years to come.
They certainly have made their mark. I mean, Mary was superintendent during the challenging time of the pandemic, which was a very difficult time. Mary weathered that beautifully, was a strong leader for us, and she has done much to develop our teachers, our administrators, our principals and presidents, and also our boards. We certainly wish Mary all the best. David Schmidt, his name is synonymous with life and pro-life. He worked hard on issue 1. Sadly, we lost that as a state, but David was very committed in his ministry to pro-life and to family development. And we would have the pro-life masses twice a year, and he was also instrumental in marriage preparation for the diocese.
Now, you're obviously the person who hires their replacement. Before we talk about Dr. Stephen Jones, with Mary and with Dave, what type of qualities do you have to possess those positions?
Well, it's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. I mean, being a leader in the church and being a leader anywhere demands courage, conviction, collaboration. It also means a sense of listening and just working as a team. Those are some of the things that we look for.
One reason for optimism, Dr. Stephen Jones, who has some ties to Grove City College in Pennsylvania. What stood out about his resume, and what kind of guy are you bringing here to the diocese?
Well, this is a man who has great passion and zeal for education. He's a husband, he's a father, he has a wealth of experience. He comes from the outside to us, which is a good thing. It's nice to open up the windows and welcome people from different places who bring with them perhaps a different vision, a different view, mix things up a bit. And already just in the short time, he's been off and running and just doing a great job for us. So I'm just encouraged by what he brings to the table.
Thank you, Bishop Bonnar. Coming up, I will go one-on-one with retiring Superintendent Mary Fiala and former Director of Pro-Life, Marriage, and Family Life, Dave Schmidt. Both will talk about their careers, favorite accomplishments, and share what they look forward to most in retirement. Stay with us. We're just getting started here on the Catholic Echo Podcast. The Catholic Echo magazine is delivered free of charge to anyone who is registered at a parish in the Diocese of Youngstown. But subscriptions are also available for non-parishioners. A subscription costs $40 per year, and you can buy one for yourself or gift a subscription to a loved one. Email catholicecho@youngstowndiocese.org for more information.
Wondering what happened to timely Catholic news in the Diocese of Youngstown? It's at catholicecho.org. Sign up for the email newsletter while you're there to have Catholic news delivered to your inbox.
Welcome back to the Catholic Echo Podcast. We are celebrating the retirements of two mainstays here at the Diocese of Youngstown offices, Superintendent Mary Fiala and Dave Schmidt, who is the Director of the Office of Pro-Life, Marriage, and Family Life. First off, congratulations to both of you. These are exciting times.
Thank you.
Thank you.
45 years in education as a teacher, in the past decade as superintendent. In March, receiving the National Catholic Education Association's Lifetime Commitment to Catholic Education Award. Now, you've said before you were surprised and humbled by this honor. What did that mean to you?
It was a total surprise to be nominated and to be accepted for that. It has actually been my privilege to serve our kids and families in Catholic education for all of these years. I was very grateful for the honor, but I think that the honor really goes to all of the people that I have worked with over the years. You never do this job alone. And again, that award is not just mine. It goes with all of the people and I've worked with over the years.
I'm sure this has been a time of great reflection for you. I guess, what are some of the other favorite accomplishments that you've had over the year?
I began in education because I enjoyed working with kids and really wanted them to have a great future, both in their academic world, but also in their relationship with Jesus. And over the years, I've changed positions. I've gone from working with the students more directly to working with the teachers as a principal, working with the teachers and the families and the adults that work with the kids. And then moving to the office, while you have a little bit more distance from the students, one of the things that we've always tried to keep in mind, that whatever decisions that we make as an office all go back to what is best for the students that we serve. So the students really is the longest running thread throughout my career.
And Dave, you were a longtime pastoral associate and retiring as the Director of Office of Pro-Life, Marriage, and Family Life. I guess same question, what were some of the accomplishments you were most proud of over the years?
I'd sort of rephrase it to say what I'm most excited about. And there's two that come to mind. One is, and it's something that's very much at the beginning stages in our diocese, it's an effort that the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops initiated called Walking with Moms in Need. And we see about a dozen of our parishes starting to invest themselves into that, and probably another dozen or so expressing an interest in doing so, and basically getting the message out that it's not enough just to be against abortion, that we also have to be concerned with the needs of the mom. 85% or so of women who seek abortions live at or below the poverty line. So there's a number of other issues that they're dealing with. Surveys also point out that the majority of women who have abortions did not want to have the abortion. They felt that it was their only option. So if our parishes can posture themselves in supporting those who are vulnerable for abortion, that's exciting because it helps to bring people together. There are those who are concerned about the plight of the unborn, and they might come from one political persuasion. There's those who are concerned about meeting material needs, issues of poverty, issues of jobs, and all who might come from another political persuasion. And they can work together on this rather than be on opposite sides of the fence, because we've seen obviously so much divide in our nation and things like that. The other thing I get excited about is with marriage preparation. Over the years, we've retooled the engaged couple retreat. And I think it's a more balanced, you can never do enough marriage preparation. I think one of the people I quote in marriage preparation says marriage is the art and practice of perfecting and purifying our love. And I tell the couples at the beginning of the engaged couple retreats that I like talking about marriage. I've been talking about marriage for 20 years now because I think I eventually might get it right if I talk about it enough. And to work with the couples, give them a vision, the beautiful vision that the church has for them, and a vision that is trying to point them in the direction that it's more than about just themselves. That, as the Venerable Archbishop Fulton Sheen used to say, it takes three to get married: a bride, a groom, and Christ.
And you're part of the wedding anniversary mass, always inspiring as somebody who's approaching 10 years of marriage, seeing the couples that are 50, 60, 70 years. I mean, what's that like to see those couples?
Oh, it's a beautiful witness. We had a couple this year that was celebrating 75 years. That's the all-time high that I've experienced. And looked great. I asked them, I said, how old were you when you got married? 12? Because obviously they're well into their 90s. But that's always heartening. And it's something I usually, again, on the engaged couple retreats, share with the couples, that the church wants to be there to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary with them. I tell them, I'm not going to be there to celebrate your 50th wedding anniversary with you, but the church wants to be.
Yes, and this question is to both of you. What are you looking forward to most in retirement?
I think I'm looking forward to spending more time with my family. I really don't have any huge plans at this point, but other than to be able to be more available to my family, my friends, I'm looking forward to being able to spend more time in my garden, to read some of the books that I just never have had the opportunity or commitment to be able to read. I'm the kind of person that if I pick up a book, I usually want to read it all the way through the night, and that's just not a possibility right now. And I think I'm looking forward to having coffee on my patio in the morning, just enjoying being outside, maybe just a little bit smaller pace. But I'm also looking forward to finding out ways that I can continue to serve God, to serve our people. And so I'm kind of excited to see where that's going to lead me.
Dave, same question to you.
Obviously, family. We have 4 biological children and currently have 2 foster sons. And our youngest of our 4 he's on the autism spectrum. And so he just needs a little bit more guidance, and so I'm planning on spending more time with him. Very high functioning, very talented. He needs a little bit more confidence to help out. And our foster sons also happen to be on the autism spectrum as well. In fact, that's partly why they sort of found their way to us, is that we have a little bit of experience in dealing with that challenge. They're going to become the focus of my attention. Not that they're not my attention currently, but more so the focus of my attention as I have a little bit more time, and some of the burden that my wife will continue working for a few more years, but some of the burden she's had will be shifting to me in terms of helping them out.
And Mary, the Diocese of Youngstown has announced the hiring of new superintendent Stephen Jones. Obviously, he's very accomplished in his professional career. I guess, what advice would you give him as he begins his new journey?
I would first like to welcome him to Youngstown and also advise him to listen and learn and get to know the people that that are here. There are many dedicated people that are working hard to do great things for kids, the office staff, the administrators, teachers, and there's a lot of wisdom that they have, but we are looking forward to someone who is able to come in and bring some other wisdom to continue to move our schools forward and to make them as great a place as they can be for our kids.
Mary Fiala, Dave Schmidt, thank you so much. God bless and have a wonderful and restful retirement. And make sure to keep it here. When we return, you'll hear from Katie Wagner from the Catholic Echo magazine and two priests who are also retiring, Father Ray Thomas and Father Philip Rogers.
Wondering what happened to timely Catholic news in the Diocese of Youngstown? It's at CatholicEcho.org. There you'll find recent stories about Catholic life in all 6 counties of the Diocese of Youngstown, plus recent videos, podcasts, and even national and global news. You'll find it all at CatholicEcho.org under the News tab. Sign up for the email newsletter while you're there to have Catholic news delivered to your inbox.
When storms hit, we are there to rebuild. As our neighbors age, we lighten their burdens. As our veterans adjust, we ease their transitions. We are Catholic Charities, and we are there. Join us at wearethere.us.
This is Katie Wagner, the editor-in-chief of the Catholic Echo magazine, and I'm here with Father Ray Thomas, who is retiring after more than 50 years in the priesthood. Father, congratulations. I hear that you've recently hit your retirement date. Is that right?
I have. As of May 1st, I retired.
That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you discern the priesthood?
Again, we're going back quite a few years.
Right.
Back in the day, when I left high school, I bet there was at least 10 or 12 guys from my high school class that was thinking about priesthood for themselves and went to
Wow.
a summer program. But actually, back when I was in probably junior high, began to give it some serious thought at that point. And then in high school, it was continued to be on my mind. I took studies to kind of prepare, anticipate the seminary. Spoke to a vocation director when I was a sophomore. Stayed in touch with the vocation director until I graduated high school, and then applied for seminary at that point and was accepted, and went to Cincinnati to begin my 8 years of study for the priesthood in those days.
Wow.
The 4 years of college and the 4 years of theology.
Now, did you go to Catholic school?
I did. Ursuline, 64 graduate from Ursuline High School. And like I said, there was about 10 to 12 men that went to a summer program thinking in terms of possibly going to seminary. And out of those 10 or 12, I'd say about at least 8 decided to go, maybe more. 8 or 10 went to the seminary, at least for the first year. And then little by little, guys began to discern that this is not what I'm called to.
Yeah.
And we ended up being 5 men ordained at the end of the 8 years.
Did they all serve here in the diocese?
They have, yes.
Wow.
2 have left, and there's 3 of us that are still current. Myself, Father Zapp, and Father Gretschko.
Oh, that's
The
amazing.
3 of us were ordained together.
How neat. Oh my gosh. Well, so tell me a little bit about your career. You know, what are the things that you're most proud of? I know it's been, what, 52 years?
52 years,
Okay.
yeah. Well, the last 26, I've been along the North Shore up in along Lake Erie between Ashtabula and Conneaut.
Mm-hmm.
And those were just delightful years. It was challenging. The challenge was, first of all, going to Conneaut and facing 2 churches and a school that was having difficulties and working those out as best I could. And at the time, Bishop Tobin said, well, you're going to be pastor there, you just put that together as best you can. And so began working with the 2 parishes, 2 separate councils, asking them to become one council, pretty much what we're doing today, and doing 2 separate finances. And the finance council finally saying, Father, why don't we just do one budget rather than duplicating this? And I said, well, if you do that, you're going to be making it one parish. And their response was, well, so what? As long as we keep the 2 churches open, that's the important thing. So they decided to do that. And so that was nice in that way that people came to that decision that let's bring this together as one parish with 2 churches. And the bishop was receptive to that, and the rest is history. Now it's Corpus Christi Parish with just 1 parish. After 13 years there, I went to Ashtabula. Bishop Murray was bishop at that time. Began working with the 3 parishes. And that was a little more challenging, trying to bring 3 parishes together with 3 large, beautiful churches. Still have all 3 churches, primarily using Mount Carmel Church right now as their primary place of worship, and the other two places being secondary. But it was wonderful along the lake. And previous to that, I done campus ministry here at Youngstown University for a number of years. I was down in East Liverpool for a few years, in the Warren area too, where I'm currently living. Those are some of the highlights, I'd say. The campus ministry, a little bit of hospital ministry, the challenge of bringing parishes together, where we are today. And I really do believe Holy Spirit is guiding us. We're in different times, that's for sure. I've said to the people there, as we see few people in our churches and combining and merging these buildings, that we're just being pruned back for future growth. And I really, truly believe that. There's a pruning process going on, and we'll see growth going on in a different way down the road. So I'm really optimistic about the future.
That's a really beautiful way of thinking about it.
I really have to trust God knows what God's doing with all of this, and we're His instruments, and we're working on God's behalf, and God will make it happen, sure.
Absolutely. And it sounds like you've served in a lot of the different counties of the diocese.
Mostly along the eastern side here between Ashtabula, Mahoney,
Yeah.
and Columbiana County, and Trumbull County, yeah. It's all four of the counties here.
Wow. Well, the impact that you've had, that's incredible.
Thank you.
So, Father, tell me a little bit about what you would like to do with your retirement. I understand you're a swimmer. You have various different hobbies. Are you going to partake in any of those?
I hope to get back to swimming. I'm talking with one of my cousins about joining a place where he goes for swimming. It's not too far of a distance of a place to get to, I think. I do enjoy golfing. I play at golf more so than play golf, it seems, but I think now that I have maybe a little more time to actually play the game, I will enjoy playing it a little more, hopefully. I have not made any real commitments, but I would like to, I think, maybe look into St. Vincent de Paul in the Trumbull County area to assist with that. Been involved with the Rotary over the years and maybe to connect with the Rotary organization, but also the Knights of Columbus. I've been a fourth degree Knight of Columbus to connect with that organization in the Trumbull County area.
Well, that sounds like a lot. That's a
Yeah,
busy
just
retirement.
I want to pace myself to enjoy the time. It's amazing the lightness that you feel about life compared to when you have all the responsibilities that you're carrying when you're pastoring or doing some other things that you have responsibilities for.
Oh, I'm sure. Though I do know that a lot of our priests, when they retire, they're not really fully retired. They still do a lot of ministry and,
I
serve
plan
in
to do
various
some
ways.
weekend help and coverage for guys when they go on vacation or if somebody gets sick, be available for that. Maybe not right away, just enjoy the downtime a little bit first.
Enjoy this time. So thank you so much, Father. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me.
You're most welcome, Katie. It's good to be here with you. Thank you.
And when the Catholic Echo podcast returns, we will talk to Father Philip Rogers, former pastor at Christ Our Savior Parish, about his retirement. Did you know that the Catholic Echo magazine is delivered 10 times per year to 52,000 Catholic households in northeastern Ohio? That's more than 150,000 people. And the Catholic Echo website, catholicecho.org, has been averaging 30,000 views per month since it launched in February 2023. Advertise your business, special event, or service with the Catholic Echo in print or online. Email catholicecho@youngstowndiocese.org. Advertising discounts are available for Catholic institutions as well as for businesses that commit to 5 or 10 issues in a year. Email catholicecho@youngstowndiocese.org or visit the advertising tab at catholicecho.org for more information. This is Katie Wagner, the editor-in-chief of the Catholic Echo magazine, and I'm here with Father Rogers, who is celebrating his retirement. Thank you for being here with us today, Father.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me, Father, we're going to kind of start in the beginning. What was the discernment process like for you? When did you know that you wanted to pursue the priesthood?
Well, Katie, my parents moved to Poland Township when I was very, very, very young in 1954. There was no Catholic parish in Poland.
Oh.
In 1956, Holy Family was established, and my parents and my grandparents were both very active in the parish. And so I grew up around the parish. Mm-hmm. Some of the priests that served there were family friends. And it was from way back then that seed was first planted. Later, when I started college, I began to think about priesthood, went into the seminary in 1974. And it was in that seminary process, as I kept moving along, at some point decided that, yes, I think this is what I can do with my life. And so it was the culmination of all of those things, being around the parish so much, family, friends who were priests, and then moving on through the seminary system and discerning at that point that, yes, I think this is what I want to do.
Sure. And you went to seminary, was it in Cincinnati?
Correct.
Okay.
2 years at the college seminary because I had been at YSU for 2 years, and then 4 years in theology. In those days, theology was completed in 4 years rather than what they expect now.
And now tell me, Father, looking back on your career, you've worked in Mahoning and Columbiana and Ashtabula. You've worked in...
And Trumbull.
Oh, and Trumbull. Okay. You've worked in many, many parishes. You were the Dean of Mahoning County South, and you've done various things. So what have the highlights of your priesthood been?
I've been in many places, as I often joke. I've been from one end of Route 11 to the other. But it's always been parish work. I was an associate pastor for 10 years, and then the last 34 have been a pastor. And it's the fact that with parish work, there is never 2 days that are the same. It's always be on your toes. You don't know what's coming next. I can honestly say I've enjoyed almost all of it. There were a few days I would gladly trade in, but they were far fewer than the days that I enjoyed doing what I was doing, and mostly that was just being involved in the lives of people, in their moments of triumph, weddings and new babies and new grandbabies, and in their moments of sadness, a lot of funerals and marital breakups along the way. So it's been very, very rewarding. All of those years in all of those parishes, I have only the best of memories of all of those people.
And now, Father, do you intend with your retirement, do you think you'll continue being involved in ministry?
I would like to.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to continue to celebrate Mass whenever I'm needed. I tell everyone the reason I'm looking forward to retirement is if the toilet's not running and or if the custodian can't be found, I'm not the one they're going to turn to and say, what do we do? I can come in. I'll be happy to assist in any way I can. I'm fleshing out a few volunteer things that I can do. But once again, I don't want to be in charge. That's what I'm really seeking to avoid. I don't want to have to be responsible for anyone but myself. And that's quite a charge as it is. So
that is fair enough, Father. Is there anything that you're looking forward to? Do you want to be golfing or swimming or traveling or anything like that?
A little travel. I have plans to go to England for the first time. Some family travel. I have a sister who lives in Florida, so she may be seeing me more in the winter than she ever wanted to, but nothing beyond that. I don't really have a full plate planned. I'm looking forward to not having anything in front of me that I must be at for a few months.
I think that is the right way to approach retirement. So, well, thank you so much, Father. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me today.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you so very much.
For more information or to read the full story on Father Rogers' retirement, please visit catholicecho.org.
The Catholic Echo podcast is a production of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Youngstown. Your host has been Dennis Biviano. Have a blessed day, and may God be with you.